Welcome, everyone. Happy Friday. It's the end of the week. Plenty of movies to review, including Smile 2, Anora, Goodrich, and more. Plus, an interview with documentary filmmaker Elisa Levine. Her movie Sweetheart Deal shall be on near the end of the show. Plus, your comments, questions, concerns. And Alan Ng, yes, is dutifully waiting in the wings. He's here. I see him. He's right. I can see him. So let's get things started. Let's do the show. I'm pre-coffee, but we can fix that. Let's go. Oh, God. What the heck?
Hello, Mr. Gore. I have a plan. I will close all the portals so he will never get out again, but for now, we shall call him Alan. 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 Alan.
You're here.
I'm here. I'm stuck in this portal.
Hal let you in. I don't know, finally let you in.
Yeah.
That's Leo Cody, does our amazing AI generated videos, and
Along with the background images in on the screen.
A lot of the ones they have gotten out of control in the best way. I love it.
My X feed is the worst. It's
between like MK Solid and oh my God, they're so good. They're so good. Oh man.
Yeah,
You make me happy.
See that it makes you happy.
I'm still the hotter woman of the two of us.
When there's like a meme or like some video of you as a woman, you do look really good.
Yeah.
It looks great.
Part of me feels very proud of that, and part of me just feels like I can't go there.
We have a lot of movies to review that probably a lot of people have not heard of. But
I'm going to venture to guess that all the movies I'm reviewing, no one will watch.
Well, we'll see. At least one movie out of the 8 we're talking about today is going to get a recommendation. I'll just say that. But let's see who's here today before we start. Dave J just became a YouTube member. Join us on Discord. So we are posting so many videos. Even Alan is posting videos now.
Yes. I posted a video. Yeah,
Thank
you
you
happy
for
now?
that.
And
Yes,
it's for
I'm
a
very
movie
happy.
no one's gonna see.
It doesn't matter. I
Okay.
love the Q&As. I love like going to events, and we got to see. We did a Q&A this week for a film called The Order. I recorded it. Jude Law, Nicholas Hoult. Check that out for members only. And my adventures at the American Film Convention. I was there this week. Someone got a video of the panel I did. I am going to post for members, but we're having issues with it. So do that ASAP. Hey, Lord Thoth. Well, we'll get to that one last. Here, read them, Alan.
Yeah, Brock Samsonite. Good morning, wonderful people. Good morning, Brock and the chat. Jaimin D. Is it the best Friday of this? Is it the best Friday of this week, or is it the best Friday of this week?
It is.
Suns and Shadows. How many cups of coffee for Chris this morning?
I'm on one so far. We're working on number 2.
Davina Duckworth. I Feel Pretty is a song written by Stephen Sondheim and Leonard Bernstein from the 1957 musical West Side Story regarding Alan's deep fakes.
Ooh.
I will tell you, I think I will look very sexy in West Side Story. Except we're going to get copyright struck for that video.
Yeah, but might be worth it. Lord Thoth, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, sign up as a member, join us on X, Discord, Rumble, and Instagram. Buy our merch. I am sporting our Krull-inspired shirt. Look at that.
Yes, I've got the old Slate Film Thread Slate.
That I made that logo when I was 18 years old. I cut out the word film production out of American Cinematographer. I blacked out the word production, and I wrote with whiteout. I wrote the word threat to make it look punk rock. Yeah. That is the origin of that logo, and it's lost to history. I don't know where the original thing is, but that logo remains. I was just trying to make it look like a punk rock band logo. So you can get that and many others at our shop. So check it out. The election collection leaves November 5th. I will have a question about this later on in the show. I want more people to kind of come in. But I have a question related to the election on November 5th. So,
Good.
but
Good.
I will be asking.
We'll talk politics. Great.
Yeah, it's just a question.
I will say though, I just placed an order last night, so I'm getting new shirts coming in.
Oh,
and a
nice
hoodie.
Nice.
I'm buying a hoodie.
We've got a lot of films to review and a lot of news stories. So let's get to the news. Here we go. It's tomorrow, October 19th, is International Independent Video Store Day. You may or may not know, in high school, I worked at one of the renowned indie video stores, Thomas Video. It was originally Thomas Film Classics. They sold Super 8 movies, and I was a customer. I'd been going there since I was 9. Then I lied about my age because this true story. They carried adult films, so they only could hire someone over 18. I was 16 years old, and I lied about my age and got a job at Thomas Video. Shout out to Gary Reichel and Jim Olensky, who hired me and, for the most part, tolerated me. But Thomas Video went out of business years ago, and famously, they got rid of all their inventory. They sold it all. And Quentin Tarantino flew out to Michigan, Royal Oak, Michigan, to buy some of the rare videos at Thomas Video. I met one of my dear friends, Paul Zimmerman, there. It was so great. So many people. And I'm sad that Thomas Video is gone. But Scarecrow Video continues to exist. And they are very much advocates of this. You can donate and help them. And we'll put the link in the description. So Scarecrow Video is also, they have a blog. They write about film and always known about a Scarecrow Video. And I don't know, I really think that early podcasting or whatever, I would go to the video store, not just to look at stuff. I went to Laser Library in Pasadena, but to have conversations with other film fans. I miss the idea of going to a store, looking at they've got, 20 copies of whatever, Ghostbusters, but you look lower on the shelf, you got Trauma, you've got Pink Flamingos, John Waters movies, and Thomas Video, where I worked, proudly carried adult films, unrated movies, and all kinds of indie films. It really was my education in film. Alan, do you have memories of going to the video store?
Yeah. I mean, early on, my dad, he loved movies. He bought a VCR, sorry. And we would go to, I was looking it up. It was a popular music record store in Southern California, and I can't find the name of it. It's not one of the obvious ones, but I would say that my film library comes, especially as a kid, comes directly from my dad. Because every Friday night he was there renting at least 2 movies to watch over the weekend. And so, I was just watching the same movies with him. And that's where I watched some of the classics. I will say, though, he kicked me out whenever he rented a rated R movie. So but I will say that my entire life, up until probably the early 2000s, every Friday night I was at Blockbuster or some other video store. Renting movies.
Well, I don't know. I feel like the video store culture, like I say, with Laser Library, when I had a Laserdisc player, I would go to Laser Library on Green Street in Pasadena, and the Anthony Miele was he was the clerk there, whatever. we would get in these arguments. We became longtime friends, met him in the 90s, and we would argue about movies and we would draw a crowd. It was hilarious. Like people would just stick around after they rented their films, and then they would just watch us fight.
Yeah.
So Scarecrow Video, I wish it was in LA. It's not, but support them. And just I think video store culture just attracts film fans. So support them in their campaign. Again, we'll put the link in the description.
Yeah.
So cool. All right. More stuff to discuss, including something that I know is near and dear to your heart, Alan. Musicals. If you would put up the story. I by the way, I'll tell you about myself. I am a fan of Wicked. Wicked is a prequel to The Wizard of Oz. It tells the story of the Wicked Witch of the West and how she became Wicked. I have seen the stage play 4 times, and I am straight, by the way. I love this story, and here's what a nerd I am. Before we talk about this, I'm watching this epic story. It's so good as the stage play I'm talking about. I thought, why couldn't the story of Anakin's turn to Darth Vader be as good and deep as this? Because they go into her friendship, how she goes wicked. You understand her side of the story. I am not looking forward to this movie. The trailer, I've seen every trailer, and I'm really annoyed by it.
I've heard things, and we'll talk about it later, but I've heard things about the development of this project that has that continues to turn me off more and more to this. And like you, I have seen, I'll say this, I fell into loving Wicked. My wife was listening to the soundtrack over and over and over again. And finally, being the dutiful husband I am, I took her to see Wicked and realized just how good this musical is. So I'm on board with you.
It's one of the best. I have a bootleg DVD of the play. That's how, and yes, and like I say, I've been 4 times. Want to repeat, I'm straight. And also, so I've seen it a lot, and it's amazing. It's a great story, and it leads directly into, and even crosses over with events from The Wizard of Oz, which is one of my all-time favorite films. Watched it as a kid with my family. It was an event way back when, with a big bowl of popcorn in a steel bowl. It was, we'd sit around, it was amazing. Like it was, and so the fact that it respects Wizard of Oz. It changes nothing about it other than you understand how the characters got to where they are. It's fantastic.
Also should say that I've heard people complaining about the movie Wicked being another story of a villain's redemption, and I'm like, well, this play took place 20 years ago. I believe it was based on another book.
It's based on a book. The
story was there for decades. That's like saying, oh, the Bible. It's yet another story about the Bible.
Right. But okay, so we're both fans, and I'll say, based on everything I have seen, I am dreading seeing this film. And they have not advertised this. It's a 2-parter. I mean, the play is, like, to be fair, 3 hours. Most plays are. There is an intermission in the play. I mean, how you make 2 movies out of this? I could see one long movie. Fine, 2.5 hours. A 2-part movie? I am dreading seeing this. But now here's a controversy. Let's get into it. Cynthia Erivo criticizes Wicked poster being fan edited to hide her face, calls out, "Is your green?" It rhymes with wussy green, memes offensive, and it degrades me. Again, she makes it all about her. Before you read this, I know the story. It's the poster that fans have done is based on a redo of the poster from the play where her eyes aren't seen. Her face is obscured, right?
Right.
So anyways, if you would, Alan.
Well, let's even add more context to it. Red lipstick, and there's a smirk. on her face. It's a
Right.
very devilish smile. And this looks nothing like that poster. But here we go. Cynthia Erivo is speaking out against Wicked fans who used Photoshop to edit one of the recent posters from the upcoming film adaptation of the Broadway musical. Universal released a Wicked film poster this month that evoked the original Broadway poster, with Ariana Grande's Galinda whispering into the ear of Erivo's Elphaba. Only the film poster had a few tweaks, mainly lifting Elphaba's hat so you could see Erivo's eyes. Wicked fans loyal to the Broadway musical flooded social media after posters dropped to issue Photoshop corrections, with Elphaba's hat being lowered and her lips getting the bold lipstick in order for the film one sheet to exactly match the Broadway one. Erivo found such alterations hurtful. This is the wildest, most offensive thing I've seen, equal to that awful AI of us fighting, equal to people posing the picture, is your pea green? Erivo wrote on her Instagram story while sharing one of her photoshopped Wicked posters with her face covered. None of this is funny. None of this is cute. It degrades me. It degrades us. The original poster is an illustration. I am a real-life human being who chose to look right down the barrel of the camera to you, the viewer, because without words we communicate with our eyes. Our poster is an homage, not an imitation. To edit my face and hide my eyes is to erase me, and this is just deeply hurtful.
Okay, all right. So there's the quote. I think she's hypersensitive.
Yeah.
I think perhaps be grateful that you're in the position you were cast in a major movie that will be
popular Broadway musical.
Yeah, and you're a part of a larger thing, and to make it about herself. I just, I'm still not a fan of this casting because it blatantly makes, while the original made a veiled sort of reference to race, this now blatantly makes it all about race. And it's about really the friendship of these two characters and where it went awry and why she became wicked and vilified. And it's a really well done. The story of the play that I know and the book are excellent. This film adaptation looks to go. I don't have high hopes.
Yeah, I agree with you. First of all, Wicked is beloved by millions. Millions of people have seen Wicked, and I believe it's the early 2000s that this came out. So we're talking close to 20 years of Wicked. People have loved this play over 20 years. And what people forget about fandom is when you've got such a following, the people who've seen it feel like it's ours, that we own it. And to see what we loved and the emotions what we felt about this play kind of be altered and changed in ways that force us to kind of disconnect from what we loved. I don't know. Maybe Hollywood has been having a trend of doing this with certain IP, but they're literally taking Wicked out of the hands of its fans. The thing about Wicked and what they're doing with it is Elphaba. The reason why people love Elphaba is because she is different. If you're a person who has ever lived on this planet, you have had those occasions where you walk into the room and you feel different from everybody else in the room. But this is a universal feeling that we all have. And based on things I've heard, interviews I've heard about this, it is no longer about a person who walks into a room and feels different. It has become racial now. Right. It's about a black person who doesn't feel comfortable in a white world, which ironically you have black people in the background of the cast, but this is just an indication of that. And for Erivo here to make these statements that this denigrates me, this is hurtful to me, it's the ultimate form of narcissism. And it's, I don't know what it is about actors, but it's like she has decided that this role is mine and mine alone. And things that I've heard about the development of the movie, because they brought back Stephen Schwartz. They brought back the original writer of the book, and they've made changes to it. They've made additions to it. And the sense I get, and at CinemaCon, I heard John M. Chu talk about it, how Erivo kind of stepped into the role when she stepped on stage and breathed it in, which gets you an indication that I think she is bringing her Black experience of being different, of being prejudiced and marginalized into this role. And every indication I get is, she's taken this character, made it her own, and if you don't like it, you're a racist and you can go to hell. And that's the feeling I get. I'm not looking forward to this film.
I'm not looking forward to it either, and that's not what the original play is about or the book.
Yeah,
it's an allegory for racism. Now it's
an allegory for prejudice. It's an allegory,
for prejudice, right?
And that's something everyone feels. That's the thing, and that's why this play resonates with so many people, because we've all felt this way.
Yes, so it's an allegory. You're right, for prejudice. Now it's overtly about race, and I think I think it'll still probably be a hit. Okay, they even did a Lego version of the trailer, right? Which I saw before, Piece by Piece, the Lego documentary about Pharrell Williams. I am dreading seeing this, and this is not going to help.
Let me tell you about Hit. Okay, so let's just pretend we didn't say anything about race or anything like that. I'm going to tell you why. So far, I'm not feeling good about this movie. Again, big fan of musicals. One of my favorite musicals is Into the Woods from Stephen Sondheim. Disney did the film adaptation of Into the Woods, and it is horrible. Right. And after watching Into the Woods, I realized there are plays that belong on stage, and they don't belong in movies. Into the Woods was one of them, because what Disney did was they created a fantasy world, a CG fantasy world where this world exists, which is fine. That's what it should have been. But once you place people into this fantasy world, you are removed from the intimacy you get from the play. And so the magic of theater is just lost now. I'll say the same thing about Les Mis. I'm not a big fan of the Les Mis musical, partly because they hired actors who could sing, but not singers who could act. Russell Crowe. Let's pull that one out. This one feels the same way. It is so cinematic that you're going to lose the magic of theater in Wicked, and that's why I think I will be surprised if it is a hit, and I think it will call into question whether or not the part 2 is a good investment. That's going to be my prediction.
Let's go to your comments here. And Alan, we do have a lot to get to today, so we're going to have to go quicker on these segments. Okay.
I just bring up it.
No, it's like we got 8 movies to review. I've got a rant. I have a rant coming up.
All right.
Amping up for rant. Let's go with this.
I mean, Erivo did a rant, but you can do yours. Spidey Sensei 72. I thought the fan edited poster looked cooler than the original one for the film. Cooler than the original one for the film. KG Jung, everyone knows that guys who are straight have to remind people that they are.
Alan and I are super straight.
Super straight. KG Jung, attack fans before the movie comes out. Great going. Yeah. BMO better. Musical fans are now bigots. Yeah. The most liberal people in the world are now bigots. Jeffro Maddox, $5. Thank you for that. By the way, the Christopher Reeves McFarlane 7-inch figure is up for pre-order right now. Figured I'd give you the heads up.
God, I love Christopher Reeve. That movie. Yeah. Thank you, Jeffrey. That Super Slash Man movie is, I cried. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I brought tissue knowing it was going to move me to tears, and it did.
The Introspect M, the original poster is awful. If she's taking creative ownership of it, it's a complete failure.
Yeah, I think the homage was the fan one is better. The fans always have the better perspective, whether it's the design of Sonic 2 or what the fans say, here's what we like. And to be offended by, she's already alienating fans. And I can't believe that they want this controversy going in. Very sad.
Yeah. Bill S. Preston Esquire. The original play had metaphors and allegories, but the wokesters don't understand that. Everything has to be literal and explicit.
That is the chat of the day right there. I do believe that they cannot do subtext. It's beneath the surface, not on the surface. They tell you this is the thing, and that's not. I mean, it's insulting to my intelligence, I think. But I love, subtle, beneath the surface. You can read more into it. But when you're blatantly doing it, and that's what they've done with this film now. And I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, this is the reason why millions of people, again, connected with the original musical.
Absolutely. Thank you for all your comments here. We got to get to reviewing movies. But a quick, let's see. Okay. I got our banners here. I got to do a quick rant. A rant. A freaking IKEA chair. I read your comments. I am impressed with what I read in the comments. I see some incredibly thoughtful debate about what Alan said or what I said, debating whether people agree or disagree with what we say. But during a 2-hour plus live stream or more sometimes, I have to relieve myself and or refill my cup of coffee. I choose the time that I go, usually during not when Alan's doing a review or not when we're discussing things. Often when Alan is reading chat comments, I may go and take care of business. Now, why is that? I'm a mutant. That's right. I was born with one kidney. And according to my doctor, because I do drink a lot of water for my health, I urinate 3 times more than the average person. I have one enlarged, they call it a cigar-shaped kidney. I learned this when my then wife was pregnant, and I just noticed that I went to pee more than she did. And whenever I go anywhere, I have to know where the public bathroom is. And Alan will attest to the fact that when we see a movie, I sit on the aisle seat. I'm an aisle seat guy, whether I'm flying at the airports or in an airplane or whether I'm at the movies. I sit on the aisle. I don't want to inconvenience others. I get up. I find a place in the movie. I go bathroom, come back, right? Isn't that true, Alan?
Yes, that is true. I've never seen you watch a movie all the way through.
What can I say? I can't pause it at the theater. I do my best to find a good spot to relieve myself. But I can listen and hear when I go to the bathroom or grab coffee. The room is not far away. I can hear all the chats being read. So please, I take what I do here very seriously. I don't take myself seriously. Obviously, Alan and I goof on each other a lot. But I truly take your comments seriously, your super chats. When I'm on this show in front of over 1,000 people right now watching live, I feel obligated to tell the truth. I don't think you understand how much I take this seriously. Wow, because Alan and I goof around a lot. But I am a mutant. Now, should I go to Professor X's Academy? What will my superhero name be? Is it the Urinator? When Sentinels appear and Magneto and come to be my X-Men, when Cyclops and Wolverine and Jean Grey, when they all, should I go up there and say, excuse me, I have to pee? What will my costume look like? I have no idea, but I just want to let you know that I'm not being rude. I'm trying to find a place in the show to take care of business, and I do sometimes need a refill on the coffee. Every streamer does it. I don't do it to be rude. I truly respect and appreciate our audience, and that's all I can say. So that's my rant, because I saw a comment saying you're so rude. You leave. You don't listen to the chat. Like, I listen. I read the comments even after. So there you go, folks. There you go. I'm a mutant. A freaking IKEA chair.
I can't believe that's the comment about you that bothers you the most.
Well, I don't. Well, comments that, debate our takes on things are healthy. I like it. I don't like name calling or assumptions about people. I try to debate the argument, the topic, not the personal insults. I usually don't go there.
But I do like the fact that your superpower is excessive peeing.
Right.
Eric Shosted. Now we know what the large popcorn bucket is for. Yeah. I can tell you that bean bucket serves many purposes. Yeah, 2 cents. Chris, you need to get desk pee apparatus. Yeah, they sell that.
I had one for my car.
Yeah, and Temu has plenty that you can buy. MK Solid, do we need a meme for this? Yes, we
do. The urinator. That's my superhero name. Do it X-Men 97 style.
Chelsea M, we love you, Chris. You and your solo kidney.
My mono kidney. Thank you for that.
Gung Ho Mac. Wolverine.
Oh, that's good. Wolverine.
Hassan Chavez. Professor P. And SDW40. Was this a Gore rant or a piss take?
Oh my God, a piss take. I love you guys. I truly love the audience. This is great.
And Lucifers for 2. Chris doesn't 100% movies. Fake critic. Love y'all. That's right.
Thank you, Lucifers. Great name. And thanks for the 2. Hey, let's get to our... What?
You consistently leave movies midway through.
Yeah.
And then from Red Pill Rants for 199, introducing a new mutant piss score.
For 199. Thank you, Red Pill Rants. Let's get to our first movie review. We have like an hour to review 8 movies. Can you do the math, Alan?
60 divided by 8. Is that like 7 minutes?
Yes. Let's get to our first review. We will get to Smile 2 at the top of the hour. I know that's why most people are here, but we have a lot. So let's go.
Okay. I'll find
I appreciate, I read the comments. I'll reply. I like to say it's me replying because it's film threat, but I'll say, hey, this is Chris, and I'll say something. So yeah. All right, Alan, tell me about Exhibiting Forgiveness.
Okay, so Exhibiting Forgiveness is in theaters now. It is one of the films that played at Sundance. And by the title, you can figure out what the theme is. It's forgiveness. But Terrell is an artist who is haunted by his painful past, mostly a lot of trauma that occurred in his family, and especially with his father, who is today homeless and a drug addict. And so he is constantly waking up with nightmares, with stress about an upcoming art exhibit that he's supposed to put on. And he's finds himself with creator's block. And a lot of it has to do with his childhood, his growing up. And it is basically his journey to find forgiveness, especially for his father, who is himself still struggling with drug addiction, and who is looking to better himself, to get rehab, to recover. And it is this kind of cat and mouse between father and son as they seek forgiveness. I'll say this. 2 things about the film. One, forgiveness is a topic that is not in the minds of the nation, and I think, or in the national conversation. Right. And I honestly believe that forgiveness is the one thing that can heal the world altogether, because cancel culture is exactly about attacking one another. It's not about allowing people to let people forgive people of their past, to not hold on to grudges, to not always look for faults in people, but to recognize that we're all imperfect people. And that's what this movie does. It just recognizes that we are imperfect people, that we have been hurt in the past. And one of the major steps to growing and maturing as a human being is to explore our past, understand our past, and forgive those who have hurt us. And so the other thing I like about this movie is this subject. Based on the poster, you might think it's about social justice and reparations, but it really is about being human. So it is not. There are woke elements, but this is not a woke story. And it, ultimately, it tries to do a good thing, and that's to better ourselves, forgive people, don't hold on to grudges, and move on with life. I will say we could talk about the film now, but I do want to talk about Sundance, which is where this came from. But this one, I will give it a recommendation. I don't think it's the greatest movie ever, but I think there's enough to connect with to make the story interesting. But it is a very indie film, and it feels like an indie film. There's not a lot of production value here, except for the artwork.
Well, so you give it a bare recommend.
I give it a recommend, but not. I would like to give it an enthusiastic, and I can't do that.
Okay,
all
let's go to comments here.
Well, actually, you want to let's do comments, but I do want to talk about Sundance.
Talk about Sundance.
Okay, let's talk about.
Go to comments. Sorry.
Okay, so Sundance is approaching us. I got the invitation. I've not yet filled out the invitation because Sundance is, it's in trouble a bit. But the reason I want to bring this up is I semi-attended the last Sundance Film Festival. Did it online. Didn't have access to a lot of things. This is one of the movies that I did see at Sundance. But I was looking at it, and Sundance from 2024, back in January, these are the films that came out of Sundance that have hit theaters. A Real Pain, which is premiering soon. Coming to theaters soon. Love Me, which I've not seen, but stars Steven Yeun. The Outrun, we reviewed 2 weeks ago, and Steven Soderbergh's Presence. These are the major films that came out from Sundance back in January. An entire film festival, one of the top film festivals. And, we've talked about it over time, but Sundance is slowly becoming irrelevant, to the point now where it's like I almost forgot to apply for Sundance this year because I know we're not going because the costs don't justify the benefits, and B, the online feature, for me to do it virtually, I'm only able to see a limited number of films this year, and so it's almost going to be as if we're not covering Sundance this year.
Well, we will cover it in the limited sense, virtually, but Sundance isn't the significant discovery festival it used to be. It just isn't. And I do believe that they've leaned so much into one side of the political aisle that they've gone the extreme that way. And that means they only champion certain types of movies. And I don't know, like I really wasn't excited about this. I know it was coming to theaters. I had a chance to see it. I'm glad you did. But yeah, this is my enthusiasm for what Sundance used to be is now gone. And by the way, they are moving Sundance from Park City to some other city.
Yeah. They are exploring their options, but Park City is still in the mix. Let's put that
right. So they've got all these other cities they're getting bids on. So Atlanta was one of them. I don't know if it's still in contention, but it's sad to see. But I feel that they have the kind of risks that they used to take they're not taking, and it's sad. It's sad. They're really, and even film festivals overall for independent filmmakers are less important part of the equation. They help for sure. Don't get me wrong, but you can. There are tools. That's why I go to our interviews channel to watch. There are tools where you can get your movie out there without having to be vetted by a festival. So,
yeah,
mild recommendation.
Yeah, but it again is just this is one of the few films that has found major theatrical release coming out of Sundance, and there you go.
Let's go to your comments. And Alan, I'll just gotta say we got to go faster today.
I know that was less than 7 minutes. Lord Comet for 2. You're a wizard, Chris. A wizard, Chris.
You said Comet?
Isn't that what it says?
Comet.
There's 2 T's.
All right, fine.
This is why you're slowing down the show?
Let us know,
This is
Lord
why you're
Comet.
slowing things down?
What are you doing?
Red Pill Rants looks like it sucks from the poster. Yeah, poster doesn't say anything. Sons and Shadows. I'm already asleep listening to this. I know. Ken Bogus became a YouTube member. Thank you, Ken. And Sons and Shadows. Do you guys intend to keep on with South by Southwest? I know I have a vote. What my vote would be. But I will say South by Southwest is probably the only one that really brings in independent filmmakers. The last one.
It is. South by is fun. Yeah.
Lord Comet says it's Comet.
So I was right, Lord Comet? Thank you. I'm correct. Let's get to our next movie. Let's talk about Anora.
Okay.
Great. Nora comes from Sean Baker's, the filmmaker behind the Florida Project, which was the Oscar-nominated movie from a few years ago. Anora is about a sex worker from Brooklyn. She is a stripper at a club, and she also does sex work on the side. A young Russian gentleman decides that he wants to buy her as a girlfriend experience for the weekend. The weekend turns into a week, which turns into a marriage. Once his family, the family of Zakharov, finds out about the Anora marriage to a sex worker, the family comes in to break up and annul the marriage. Zakharov is this young gentleman that comes from a very rich Russian family of Russian Jews, and they want nothing to do with Anora. The relationship is sweeping. It's kind of romantic. You see Anora, played by Mikey Madison, like kind of fall for him. She gets like, and by the way, in true tradition with Sean Baker's work, everything is played very real. The moments are very real. When they're having sex, it's not graphic, but they're having sex. There's nudity at the club. The scenes where they are intimate. You see the closeness. You see Anora get drawn into his life. He lives in this huge mansion with big screen TV, amazing just bedroom, and just all the amenities that come with being super rich. They go on a trip to Vegas, and it's very sweet. Like, you see them, and I'm really giving you the broad strokes of what's in the trailer. But it's doomed. Things go awry when these basically heavies, tough guys, sort of mafia adjacent, show up to put things right. And that's where the comedy comes in, because it turns into sort of an after hours inspired 24-hour crazy night to find Zakharov, which has gone missing. And Anora, Mikey Madison, we're looking at an Oscar nom here. She is so good as this character, so many layers. There's so many moments of hilarity, humanity, sexy, and heartbreaking all at once. I'm a fan of Sean Baker's work. If you've seen the Florida Project, that film is heartbreaking unto itself. A movie that he made that was not, didn't get all the play it deserved. Red Rocket was fantastic. You should see Red Rocket. And he began his career, strangely, with Tangerine, a movie that was shot on an iPhone 5. So I love Sean Baker's work. It's honest, it's real. And this film, even though I think the running time is a little too long, it's north of 2 hours. It is a heartbreaking story. And by the way, it's, there's a lot of pretty women to look at. It did win the Palme d'Or at Cannes. So I'll just say strong recommend for Anora. It is currently in limited release, so it's not everywhere yet. but make sure to put this one on your list. It's an experience. It's, oh my God, the moments can't ruin the humor, but it is so good. These bumbling, tough guys trying to control this tiny, she's 100 pounds if she's, wet. Like it's hilarious. So Alan, I really think you would love this film too.
Yeah, you convinced me to see it. We also gave it 10 out of 10 on the site.
On the site, I don't know who reviewed it on the site.
Alex reviewed it.
Oh yeah, it's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
And it's I saw a friend of mine saw it who speaks Russian, my friend Alex, and he raved about it. In fact,
he's the one who wrote the review.
No, different
the other Alex. Okay, sorry.
My friend Alex Mukin. He saw this movie. He actually knows one of the strippers in the movie. I'm not gonna say how. He knows one of the strippers who's a character, Diamond. So he said he could get her on the show if we want to talk to her.
Oh,
okay. But in any case, strong recommend for this movie. Go see it. It's really surprising, and it's all the gamut of emotions. So, yeah.
My favorite part of your review was she's who's trying to find love. Things go well until things turn and the Russians come in, and that's when it becomes a comedy.
It does. It becomes a comedy.
All right.
I don't know. I just love this movie. I think it's okay. Really.
You've convinced me. I'm going to say
it's a more realistic Pretty Woman. It's grounded in realism. Let's go to your comments.
Yeah, Aubrey Lavery Frog for 5. I found that festivals are too expensive for the benefits nowadays. I don't have a spare couple of thousands.
Yep. I think that's also why that festivals are failing.
Yeah. Solomon Thornton, this sounds like Pretty Woman to me.
Yes.
Macho Elbow for 5. Florida Project and Red Rocket are 2 of my best movies of the last 10 years. Hadn't heard about this. This is why I appreciate Film Threat.
Yeah, it's only in certain cities now. It will go wide in the coming weeks.
Yeah, I saw Florida Project maybe 2 years ago and can't believe I missed that one in theaters. Gorilla Biscuits. Is she a hooker with a heart of gold?
She has a heart. She has a heart. This is a very good movie. So see it. Let's switch to a next film, Alan.
Yes.
How about Bookworm?
Yes.
Let's do that.
All right. Let me grab my notes here. All right. So Bookworm takes place in New Zealand. It's about an 11-year-old girl. This is a family film. It's about an 11-year-old girl named Mildred who's preparing to go on a camping trip with her mother. She has kind of a contentious relationship with her mother, but they get along nonetheless. The problem is the night before the camping trip, the mother goes into a coma after an exploding toaster explodes in front of her face. Now she can't go on that camping trip, and she's heartbroken. Because mother's now in a coma, a family member has to come in and take custody of young Mildred here. And who shows up but her biological father, who she's never met, in the form of Strawn Wise, played by Elijah Wood. Strawn is a fledgling illusionist. He was going to be famous until David Blaine stole all his good ideas. So now he's in this position where he has to take care of the daughter he doesn't know. And what they soon find out is that Mildred and her mom are seriously in debt. The medical bills are one thing that they can't afford, but they've been borrowing money to survive, and they need money fast. And the reason why Mildred wants to go on this camping trip is because out in the woods, the forest of New Zealand, lives a legendary giant panther. No one has ever seen the panther, but people believe it's out there. And if someone can shoot a video of this panther, the press will give them a $50,000 reward. And so that's why she's out there. Now, this movie is about this little adventure. It gets kind of rocky. There's a significant event that happens midway through that I can't explain. But the movie ultimately is about respect. Here's Mildred, who has trouble respecting people in her life. She's a loner. She has trouble respecting her mother, but definitely does not respect her biological father, Strawn, here. And then Strawn is the guy who kind of the first time in their relationship to step up to the plate and say, okay, I'm going to do the father thing. And he has to go to extreme lengths to ultimately earn her respect. And so this is a family film. It's from New Zealand. It's got a weird plot. The exploding toaster is kind of weird, but it's safe for families. It's a solid story. This is not exactly what draws me to kids movies. So it'll get a bare recommendation for me. It's safe. It's got a good message. It pushes things further than most American family films do, which I like. So there you go. It's just a nice family film about a father and daughter.
Is it? I like Elijah Wood. Is it a recommend?
It's a bare recommend. It's a recommend for families who are looking for movies to watch that are safe.
What age group?
Age group, I would say. So she's 11 years old here, so around that age, 11 and younger.
Cool. All right.
Preteens.
Let's go to comments here.
All right. Dennis Wright, toasters are notoriously evil.
That is true.
Well, I mean, the brave little toaster is one. Brock Samsonite, it looks like the knockoff Page Master. Yeah, there's no fantasy in it. That's the thing. How's your father? Asks, is it like Terrifier 3? Yes. And KG Junk, some men are so manly they only need one kidney. I still prefer 2.
Well, I'll tell you when I found out I only had one kidney, they did an ultrasound on my gut, and the doctor doing it made a joke. He said, "Have you ever been in a car accident?" I said, "No." I said, "Have you ever been to Mexico?" I said, "No." Because I can't find your other kidney. And then I asked him, I said, how will it affect me? And he said, well, you can't donate a kidney because you only have one. And he said, the other thing is avoid contact sports. Probably don't skydive because you might get an internal injury and I've only got one kidney. That would be bad. I'd be on dialysis the rest of my life. So yeah, I'm so manly. I only need one kidney. So there you go. Hey, so thanks, Alan. I liked it. I like discovering movies, and I have movies to tell you about you haven't seen, and vice versa. So there you go. Well, let's do the movie on the thumbnail now. Let's talk about Smile 2. I'll wait till you get that up there. Let me get set on my notes.
There you go.
Cool. Smile 2 is the follow-up to Smile, a film that was surprising and very good. It was originally intended to go on streaming. They released it theatrically. I was mixed on it. I thought the film was okay. It was all right. A great concept and an average film. But the concept is interesting. Basically passing on a curse or a demon to another person who then sees horrible things manifested in their world, mostly involving people smiling in a way that is demonic. It's directed by Parker Finn. And for this movie, they went all out. The first film was kind of a really clever concept done on a very low budget. This movie, they pulled out all the stops. Everything about this film, and we'll get to the broad strokes of the story in a second, but the sound design, the way the story is told, the moments that any other horror film, there might be wall-to-wall music. There are moments of silence where there's no music, no sound, and it is haunting. So kudos to Parker Finn for stepping up this movie it's a bigger budget than the first one, but my God, what he did with this budget was $28 million. Holy wow. From the makeup effects, which are practical, some digital, just creepiness, He really, really pulled out all the stops. Now, by the way, on the Gore side, it's no Terrifier 3. It just isn't. This is a studio horror film. But having said that, the moments of horror are awesome. Some really earned jump scares. Some moments where you don't really know what's going on, what's real, what's not, what is the logic of the universe. It is ultimately answered. I'm glad it is. I won't say what it is, but you do get answers to your questions. And it does pick up where the first Smile movie ended with Kyle Gallner, which I'm so happy they did. Kyle Gallner, of course, we saw in the recent film Strange Darling. He is really come into his own as an actor. So the story, really briefly, you've seen the trailer. Naomi Scott plays Sky Riley, a pop star on the level of like sort of an up and coming Taylor Swift or Lady Gaga. She has fans all over. She famously got in a car accident where her boyfriend, an actor, died. He had to go to rehab for drugs. So she had a fall from grace, but her fans love her in spite of that. Social media plays a big part of it. But she has an encounter with a high school friend where she inherits this curse. Now she is seeing grisly events play out in front of her. Naomi Scott is amazing. She was in the Aladdin movie.
Yeah, she was Jasmine in Aladdin.
Okay. I did not love that movie. I thought the live action Aladdin was meh. She is amazing in this film. I don't know if she did the singing herself, but my God, they build up a whole thing of Sky Riley and music videos and her fans and what her message is and different albums. And they have this whole lore about her as a character and her fall from grace, having been in this car accident, and then her just drug addiction and struggling with that. She drinks water. I don't know if she did it. I'm watching this going, did she really? Naomi Scott, the actress, drinks full bottles of water in like a gulp. And I'm thinking, did she really do that? Like, it doesn't look fake. And it's part of her character dealing with Sky Riley, dealing with her addiction. She wants control. She drinks full bottles of water and she does it throughout the film. They had to have, I don't know, maybe that was enhanced, but it's very realistic. So, I don't want to get into the specific scares or any spoilerish. I'll just say, see this movie with an audience. It is so fun. Really great jumps. I actually think Alan, I know you're not a horror fan, but as a non-horror fan, this isn't Terrifier 3. It doesn't fetishize the grisly gore. I mean, there is stuff that's gory. There are a couple moments that are, wow, I did look away once.
First of all, most films are not Terrifier 3.
Yes.
The majority of films are not Terrifier 3.
It's not, but it is a little over 2 hours. I thought it was a little long, could have been shorter, but I was never bored. I was never bored. And the way there are more layers to the story, which I appreciate. It's not just a simple, here's the curse, you're stuck with it. You learn more about Sky Riley, and while she's dealing with the demons from the curse, she's dealing with her demons from the past. An exceptional horror movie, not the best of the year, but if I was going to make a top 10 horror of the year, this would be on the list. One of the best. So I recommend Smile 2, giving it a 7.5.
And you're saying it's better than the first one?
Way better. I did not love the first one. The first one that was okay. But also, by the way, the first one had a much lower budget and was a streaming movie that they just will put it out. And they put it out. This, they said, let's put a lot into it. But on a $28 million budget, She does a stadium show. They really put the money on the screen. And even the style of Parker Finn, I gotta give him a lot of credit. The way he uses the camera to set the mood, not just in the horror scenes, but the camera turns upside down. He uses it in a subtly unsettling way, along with the sound design. Really someone to look at. And the fact that they connected the first and second in a clever way, not gonna ruin it. I did not expect to like this and really walked away impressed. So recommend for Smile 2. Like I said, for me, 7.5 out of 10, and one of my favorite, if not on the top horror films of the year. So there you go. Check it out.
Yeah.
You will not. And also fun to see with a crowd. A movie like this, like, you want to see it in a packed audience with people reacting, people going, and you know, it really works.
Yeah. I won't be singing.
Come on.
You know what it's part of the horror films, part of horror that I don't like is it's this idea of nightmare inducing imagery. And that's the thing.
It has it.
Yep, it does. I believe you're right.
Look, this is a great horror film for normies. And as hardcore horror fan, you will also find a lot to like. So, and also one last thing before we get to comments, Jack Nicholson's son is in this movie. He's amazing. He is amazing. He can do that Jack smile. You know, he does it great. So
he's an imitation of his dad.
No, he's very good.
Okay.
Let's go to comments here.
Dave J became a YouTube member. Thank you for that. And our Kitty 83, Smile 2, smile harder.
And congrats to you for reaching level 41. It's an inside joke.
Okay, Eric Shosted, Smile 3, frown.
If this is successful, there will be a Smile 3, guaranteed. Because I don't want to say how, the next movie could be crazy.
All right. Wes Ray wants to know, which is better, Smile or It Follows?
Well, I would say It Follows is better than the first Smile, but It Follows is really good. It's a similar concept. I don't know. I haven't seen It Follows in a
Well, I'll say this. I mean, I went to the premiere of It Follows, and I remember I knew it was a horror going in. It's definitely not as horrific or gory as
right.
Smile is. And so I think It Follows is definitely a good movie for normies.
But Smile is also, in Smile 2 is a good normie horror. I don't know. I mean, similar concept. Smile 2 is more of a broad audience crowd pleaser, whereas It Follows is more horror fans. So Smile 2, I would recommend.
And it also feels like a big studio film. Do you get that impression?
Yes, but not in a way where it's gentrified. You know what I mean? Like it really is. Smile 2, just like they now have, if it's successful this weekend, they have a franchise on their hands.
Yeah, and It Follows is a indie film. MK Solid. These concept horror films don't know how to have a good third act.
Oh, it delivers. It delivers.
This is the one. How's Your Father? I'd only see it for Naomi Scott. Yes.
She is so good, emotionally vulnerable. Like, also, there is a kind of acting in a horror movie that, like, can you be terrified? Can you, if you're going to be a final girl or a scream queen, not any actress can do that. You need to look genuinely scared as hell and pull that off. She's amazing. She's amazing.
Yeah. I think she was the best thing in Aladdin too. I think she nailed Jasmine perfectly.
Aladdin also? Aladdin also.
Yeah. Well, Aladdin as well. Yeah. Live action Aladdin. Patrick Lemire says, drinking a lot of water designed to specifically scare people with one kidney.
That's number part 3. Thanks, Patrick.
KG Jung Allen will have his horror musical. I do. It's Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
Except
By
the
the way,
ending. Except the ending.
movie. Wait, real quick aside. The movie that Little Shop of Horrors is based on, the original black and white, cheesy, low budget Roger Corman horror movie, terrified me as a kid. At the reveal at the end, I was horrified because they never show you what actually happens, right? They don't show you too much gore in that movie. As a kid seeing it, horrified. I thought the musical was dumb.
Yeah.
I did not love that.
I love the musical. But also going full circle, the original movie stars Jack Nicholson, or has Jack Nicholson.
That's right. Well, yeah, it does. Little Shop of Horrors. They give him a bit part, and there was a lot of controversy.
He's the Steve Martin part in the original.
Let's go to another movie that I haven't seen. What would you like to review, Alan?
Let's see.
Your next movie. Come on down.
Yeah, let's do Rumours, and then we can end on Goodrich.
Good, because I have thoughts on Goodrich. Let's go to Rumours.
All right. And this button. There we go. Rumours. Let me ask you this. If you had a movie that starred Cate Blanchett, Alicia Vikander, and Charles Dance, would you believe that this would be the worst movie of the year?
No.
This movie is god awful. All right. Let's get into it. We are at the G7 summit somewhere in Germany. The leaders of the top economic countries gather. They are the United States, Canada, United Kingdom, France, Italy, Germany, and Japan. And the leaders come together and they meet. They discuss the economy, but in doing so, one of the traditions is that they a provisional resolution, and that's what this movie is about: is drafting that provisional resolution. Or does it? So what happens is they're at this resort, this giant resort. They're off at this gazebo having dinner and discussing what the resolution would be. As things are going on, no one shows up to serve them food. No one shows up to clean up. What the leaders find out that they have been abandoned out in the middle of the woods. There's no one at the main house of the resort. There's no one around, and there are weird noises going on. And what they find is that the people have been missing for some reason. There might be maybe aliens coming here. I don't know if you can see in the poster here, but on top of the pillar is this giant brain. And out in the middle of the forest, there's a giant brain. And Alicia Vikander is there. She represents the EU. And somehow she finds herself connected with this brain and knows fully what the plan is going on. And so this movie becomes a movie of survival as the leaders of the G7 try to find safety, find a way to escape the danger. There's a point where there's a fire and these zombie-like creatures are around the fire. How should I say, jerking themselves off. And when they come to completion, they explode into nothingness. This is a horrible movie. The moment the movie started, I realized I am about to waste the next 2 hours of my life. And I wasted it. The movie, here's the problem. The movie is setting itself up to be satire, but it doesn't really say anything. If you made a movie about the G7, the leaders of the G7, you would think you would say something profound about government, about power, about leadership, but it doesn't go there. What you have are 7 characters who are leaders of the free world, and that's about it. That's the only connection you have with them. This movie has zero connection with the real world, so there's no way for you to really understand why things are happening. And then this big reveal that comes out at the end. I'm sitting there going like, well, what does this have to do with anything? I don't know. Cate Blanchett and Alicia Vikander, how did they decide to make this movie? What was the decision in saying, yeah, this I read the script, I love it, I'm going to do it? and to have this junk come out of it. The issue to me, though, is the characters, because they are the leaders of the world, they are automatically, you cannot sympathize with these characters whatsoever. They act like leaders. They say things, the way they interact with one another is like leaders. And as we normal people who disdain power, people in power, that's all you have here. Let me see if there's anything else that I said. This should have been I'll say this: it's a good idea, but no one involved in the script knows anything about satire. It played at Toronto International Film Festival. I'm sure it got a standing ovation, but this is such a waste of time and a waste of a movie. Go ahead.
I love the poster. The poster looks great. The cast looks great. The way you describe the concept is great. But I get what you're saying. It's like, Dr. Strangelove, right? Great satire, right? Like a satirical comedy making some political point or some observation about the world. I'm all in. That poster really looks amazing. But when it's done badly,
it's really bad.
I smelled fishy about this movie because I kept getting invited to screenings. And I was like, maybe. And then I found out you saw the movie and I'm like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, the moment that they reveal the big brain in the middle of the forest, I'm like, this doesn't mean anything. I understand what they're trying to do, but satire, the way humor works is that you relate to the subject that is being lambasted or being satirized. That doesn't happen here. And it's just a very bland attempt at humor. And strong criticism of this. I hate this movie.
You cannot recommend it.
I cannot recommend this movie. A strong non-recommendation from me.
Well, there you go. Let's go to your comments here. We'll start with right here.
Sons and Shadows became a YouTube member. Thank you.
Wait, weren't you already a member? Sons and Shadows, what are you doing?
What's going on? I think, yeah.
Thank you, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Cosmin Cristani is Rumours based on a play. I'm sure a play like this being produced, that's the question I would have. If it's based on a play, who lost their money producing it? Noons for $17.99 AED. Hello, gentlemen. Kate Blanchett needs to fire her agent. Thoughts? I mean, she's getting. Here's this movie. Then you have Borderlands.
Yeah, she's not having a good year. Thank you, by the way.
Yeah, Benjamin. Kate Blanchett has been in a lot of shit lately.
True.
Mike MC Wong, very heavy-handed satire. I hated it.
Oh, you saw it too, Mike. Yeah. Okay, there you go.
I mean, you can't. The definition of satire, you cannot apply it to this movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, breaking news, really quick. I got a press release. Godzilla -1 returns to theaters November 1st. As Godzilla -1 - Color returns to theaters nationwide with new behind-the-scenes content. Tickets are on sale now. Wow. Okay. I pay attention to this stuff. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, Alan. I like Godzilla. I know Godzilla.
It's like I get it.
I like Godzilla.
I get it. Today we want to talk about good movies. And
look at this.
You have to pull one from a year ago. Yeah. The Nerd Far Away. Okay, the plot sounds like a story I would like, but it's sounding like the execution went badly. Absolutely. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Bill S. Preston Esquire. A Party at Diddy's House, the movie. You know, there's an element of that in this movie. And honestly, that was probably the funniest part. Pilgrim Media for 2. Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, in fact, I think that's the only time I heard the audience laughed was at this kind of P. Diddy moment. From Rumble, Timothy Tinkler for 3. Thank you for that. This donation goes out to Alan. Thank you, Alan. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Laura Buckles, I can't imagine that a movie with a flaming brain on the poster would be bad.
No, I actually like the poster, but your description, like, I don't know what it's about. But it's better than a bunch of floating heads. That's the worst poster. Yeah.
Darth Yeager, wait, jerk off explosions? I'm awake again. It is not even that clever. It is not even that funny when it happens. And Spidey Sensei 72, I'm lost already with this description. Yeah.
All right, let's pivot to, I have to ask you a question, Alan.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen the movie Die Alone?
No.
The Line?
No.
Mads?
No.
Union?
No.
Woman of the Hour?
I've seen half of it.
How is it?
It's not for me. It's a horror film. It's a serial killer film taking place on the dating game. Is that the name of it?
Yeah,
the dating game. It's interesting. It's just it didn't hold my attention. That's why I kind of didn't return to it. Huh. But I I'm not the expert on slasher films, so I really can't say a whole lot about it. I thought it was interesting, but I gave up on it.
Yeah, I want to let people know here that. Oh wait, sorry, Alan. Sorry, wait, no, this, no.
Yep, that's the one.
Godzilla -1 tickets on sale now. This I literally got the message just now. I think I'm gonna go.
Where's it?
I think I'm going. Got to see it in the theater again. That's amazing. Okay. And another thing before we get to our final review, and then we have an interview today. Want to remind you that the election collection is only here for a limited time. So, and I want to ask a question of our audience. Maybe we can do a poll. Okay. This is all right. The election collection. It'll scroll through here. Should Alan and I do an election stream election night? We would throw up memes. We would do breaking news. We would call, certain states. We would have fun. We would mock things. And we would do an election special on Film Threat, basically just hanging out, having fun. We'll invite our friends on. It'll be like versus, but election style.
Yes. And we will provide no meaningful political commentary.
No meaningful commentary that should be taken seriously at all. None. And should we do it? Atomic Lori, can you do a poll? So November 5th, we would do it an evening. We would do it in the evening. We would go long, and it's just a place to hang out. We'll watch the news together. We'll find some news streams, and should we do it? We'll put up the results. But I want to leave it up there. There's like 1,300 people watching live. Rumble asked us if we were going to do an election stream. We'd find a stream that we can watch at one of the news stations. We'll watch that live. We're basically experiencing the election together because more than anything, I want it to be over. I want to move on. I want to turn the page on the election. And honestly, we'll see. I think we're all going to be fine no matter the outcome. I think maybe one outcome may be better than the other. Who knows? But I was just going to hang out at home and watch the results anyways. I was probably going to go to the 35er bar and watch the election results. But I could spend that time with Alan, probably Dante, other friends, and we'll look at memes. We'll look at videos. I don't know. Did you see that dinner?
Yeah. Gaffigan is close to getting canceled.
That was one of the funniest things I have ever seen. whoever wrote Trump's material, I mean, it was a roast. It was amazing. It was so fun. The fact that he showed up, someone else did not. I don't know what that says, but I'll say that was amazing. Let's have fun. I want to have fun. I don't want to get in a political debate with anybody. You know, Alan and I, we differ on some things. You know, Alan's my friend, and I will be his friend no matter what, where, how. It doesn't matter. We're friends, and I feel that way with all my friends. We have different political views. This idea of different views tearing the country apart is ridiculous. And we need a little unity, and humor brings people together. So should we do an election special? I'm going to leave it up to the people. I'm going to leave it up to the people. We live in a democracy on Film Threat.
Yeah.
So wait, the question is, does Alan want to do this?
Does Alan? Well, you had me at Rumble wants to sponsor. So it's like, okay, that would be the reason for me to do it.
Yeah.
I'm shilling. We
will honor the results, but are you going to tune in? Like, this is not something Film Threat normally does, but I'll end on this. We have one last film to review here. So,
I'll say it's not going to be the political stream that you.
It'll not be political. It'll be for fun and comedy.
Yeah.
But I'll just say I did a panel at Politicon. I've done it several times. So Politicon is a convention with politicians where they did it in Pasadena, and I put on panels. I did a panel called Trump the Movie, where I brought on people who worked in development in Hollywood to talk about how they would make a Trump movie. And one of them said they would do completely different marketing campaigns based on red states or blue states to promote the film. And we had The Apprentice, a Trump movie. We'll show videos, memes, we'll have fun. But I also did a panel that I researched. I still have the research from it, called All the President's Movies. I did all this research starting with the construction of the official White House movie theater. Do you know what? Well, I'll tell you later what the very first movie that was shown there. You will not believe it. You will not believe it. I'm going to save it. But I did all this research of all the presidents and their favorite movies. So we'll do some segments where we talk about presidential films. We'll talk about the White House screening room, and we'll also talk about the election, and we'll have fun.
And we'll report on the states and do electoral vote tally.
Yes, and Benjamin, when each state is won by whomever, you can say the best film set in that state. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, we will have fun. So come to Film Threat for fun, not political commentary or promoting any one side or the other. We're going to laugh at all of it. So, and there might be some political commentary. We'll see. But who knows when I get a rant. And then Noons has also become a member. Thank you for that, Noons. Check out the exclusive videos. All right, now let's get to the last film of the day. Oh, wait. Bedtime for Bonzo watch party, says Pilgrim Media for 2. That could happen. We'll show trailers. We'll show memes. We'll show videos. We'll have fun. All right, Alan, if you could.
Let me ask you this real quick. Can you name a movie set in the state of Vermont?
No.
Yeah, Beetlejuice. Funny Farm.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Alan.
Let's do this.
Bring that up. We got 10 minutes. Alan, Michael Keaton stars in Goodrich. Tell us the story of Goodrich. It's directed by Haley Myers Shire.
Yeah. So this is the story of the Goodrich Tire Empire. Michael, no, I'm not. Andy is played by Michael.
By the way, it's not. It's a man named Goodrich who owns an art gallery.
Okay, here we go. So Andy is played by Michael Keaton. He is a art dealer who wakes up one morning to find out that his wife has checked herself into rehab, which kind of explains the entire movie. Here's a guy who is so involved in his work, so oblivious to things around him that he didn't even know his wife had a drug addiction, and B, his wife had just checked herself into rehab. So the wife is in rehab for 90 days. That means he has to take care of everything. He has to take care of his two 9-year-old twins. He also has to take care of his 37-year-old daughter, who needs help just doing pregnant women stuff. And also he has a gallery, an art gallery that is failing. Clients are leaving him, and it's just not doing well. The rent is too expensive. They want him to move or shut down the gallery. And so he's on this last final pitch to find the exhibit that will help save his business. So along the way, he basically realizes how much of a sucky dad and husband he's been. And he kind of goes on this journey to earn back the respect of the women in his life. And that's what this movie is. I will say this movie is 2 hours long, and it's half an hour too long. For me, the movies that we like, the reason why we like some movies that people like and other movies we don't like is because at some point in this movie, there needs to be some kind of a connection point. Some point in this movie that you as the viewer can. And halfway through this movie, I was like, this is just really boring and bland. And it really wasn't until the end, closer to the end of the movie, that I started connecting with the character of Andy here. He's a guy who keeps his emotions close to his vest. He's a guy who is super positive when it comes to the people in his life, but so much so that his positivity has a way of disconnecting himself emotionally from the people in his life. And here's a guy who keeps it all in. And as his world falls apart around him, he refuses to accept the realities of what's happening. And weirdly enough, I found myself, feeling familiar with this kind of person. I
did too, Alan. I did too. I felt very much. And I'll say about the movie, you're on the right track with this thing. Yeah. It's a drama. I love Michael Keaton. I can't believe this is the same guy who played Beetlejuice like a month ago, right? He's in Beetlejuice. He's in this. He's amazing. Great actors. It reminds me of a 70s family drama that takes place over several months with dramatic things happening. It takes place over 3 months. His wife's in rehab, but the movie is written and directed by a woman, and it's all about how this lead character, this male, the patriarch of the family, has failed them all. Mm-hmm. And how he's, no matter how hard he tries to be the good man, Goodrich, right? He's a failure in failing to meet their needs. And he thinks maybe too much about himself and not about the women in his life. I'll say as much as I'm mixed on this movie, it got me. The relationship with him and his older daughter and going through her pregnancy. Yeah. Mila Kunis is amazing.
Yeah, there's a moment at the end where, obviously in a movie like this, things come to a head, and she goes off on him, and it is the best scene in this movie. It is the most emotionally honest moment in this movie. And honestly, this moment in the movie is the single reason for you to watch this movie.
Yeah, it is. I'll say I get to bear recommend because of that, because that scene, it's all the confusing emotions about a father-daughter relationship. Yeah. And the fact that he's juggling kind of two families. He has the new wife, younger wife, with the 9-year-old twins, and he juggles that being the good dad. And by the way, the young girl in this movie, you might recognize her. She played Princess Leia in the Obi-Wan series, and she is phenomenal in this. And she was terrible in Obi-Wan. So the young girl, I don't know her name.
I'll find it, but
she is great. She's so clever and funny and witty and honest, and that there are a lot of character moments that really worked for me, which is why this gets kind of a bare recommend. There's also Michael Keaton, who's so good, and it's a kind of movie they don't make anymore. They don't make just a solid family drama, right? And So for that, I really commend it. But as you said, probably a half hour too long. There's some
It's
moments.
an hour 50. It's an hour 50 minutes, and that Mila Kunis scene happens probably at the hour 35-minute mark.
Yeah, it could have been shorter, but I'll say this: phenomenal performance by Mila Kunis, all the actors. So, and then like you forget that Keaton can do this, and they tried to get this movie made for years. This movie was like sat around forever trying to get it funded because it's not a superhero movie, not a bunch of special effects. It's just a family drama. And I will give it up for just, I did get choked up. And also I got choked up during a couple parts, but I'll say the humor is very good and it feels very real. So a bare recommend from me. What about you, Alan?
Not a recommend for me. I think, like I said, I found a connection point, but I feel like I'm the only one who really found that connection point. I think this movie will appeal to a very small audience. I think the other thing there, I'm seeing this in films lately where it seems like they're trying to, there's a moment where Kunis kind of freaks out and her husband comes in and kind of walks her through the steps of not freaking out. And I feel like a good portion of this movie is kind of a way for the director and the writer to say, this is how I think men should relate to women in the world. And it's almost like womansplaining, that let me, I wrote it
That's
down.
the thing that bothered me. The thing that bothered me, wait, just real quick. And we do have our guest is here. We'll get in 5
minutes. Let me read what I wrote here, because there's a lesson that I see in modern movies today where filmmakers need to teach men how to relate to women, wives, and daughters. And that's what I felt like this movie was. It was a lecture in a way of how, of how men should be interacting with the women in their lives. And I felt like it was too on the nose, that it was a bit lectury and a little bit condescending, as opposed to, I would much rather, if that was the goal, have it kind of slip in and have it kind of feel organic to a situation, as opposed to feeling like a lecture out of nowhere.
It did feel like that, and that's where I'm like mixed on it. I give it a bare recommend, mainly for Michael Keaton's performance and Mila Kunis as well. I love that she can go there, and she really played it real. But you're right, that was the part of the movie that bothered me the most. I felt like it was basically he had failed all the women, and they don't even lean in on his relationship to his son, right? At all.
No, not at all.
Very weird how like the son is like barely there. So yeah, it's ultimately, I mean, I was kind of, the more I thought about it, I was disappointed, but while watching it, I love Michael Keaton. He's just, the fact that he looks almost the same as when he was younger, he's really one of those ageless men.
Yeah, I mean, as much as Michael Keaton gives a great performance here, and you talked about Mila Kunis, who's fantastic. I can't recommend I can't in good faith tell you that this is a good use of an hour and 50 minutes of your time.
Well, you've got a non-recommend from Alan, a barely recommend from me, so your mileage may vary on Goodrich. Do what you will. Let's go to comments because we have a guest here.
Yes.
And note to Elisa, we are going to just give us a few more minutes. We're having fun on a Friday.
Dan's right. Shit, I would have watched the entire movie. LOL. Yeah, that's what I thought this movie was going in. D. Goodhart, the trailer for Goodrich didn't exactly inspire a desire to see it.
Okay.
Sons and Shadows, let's get Multiplicity 2. Yeah, we need another sequel. Thomas Pickett 5, is there a movie about killing an artist to make his art go up in? Is there? I'm sure there is. I feel
sure
like
there is, but
like
they actually, what's so funny, the movie deals with that because he has an art gallery. He pursues this woman whose mother died. She was an artist, and they try to do a gallery show. Thanks, Thomas.
Benjamin for 5. We got a big day out there. Big one. We got a full moon. People are gonna be amped. All right.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Benjamin, the trailer had a Nancy Meyers vibe, sort of a funny but dramatic and about rich people.
That's the one thing. It's one of those like, I would see these movies at Sundance. They're rich white people problems. And they get boring, like to the point where I can't relate. Yeah. I'm watching, it's a very Los Angeles movie too. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I can't relate to these people. Yeah. They're all rich. Their problems are relationship stuff. They have the luxury of not struggling.
Yeah. And he lives in an area of LA we can never afford.
Correct. So yeah, I might, it's a bare recommend for the performances, but I acknowledge all the things wrong with it.
Yeah.
All right. I have breaking news, Alan.
Yes.
Breaking news. The results of our poll. The votes are in. The votes are in. You voted. Everyone live on the stream. You voted. And here are the results. Should Film Threat do an election special on Tuesday, November 5th? The answer is, after 153 votes, 69% say yes, 30% say no,
and 1% undecided.
1% undecided. I guess that means I think it's ironic. It's 69%. Yeah. But that is that's the vote. We will do a special. I don't know how long we'll go. Hopefully we get a result. We'll probably start when the polls close, like around 5-ish. But we'll do a late night stream, and we're doing it to have fun. We're celebrating that the election is over. Not necessarily who the winner is.
We'll go on until a winner is called. So it'll be a 3 to 5 day marathon stream.
We'll see about that. But thank you. We will do a post about it, but get ready to if you're going to watch the news, watch it with us. All right. Now we have a special guest joining us today. Elisa Levine is the director of Sweetheart Deal. This is a heartbreaking documentary, and she is going to tell us about it today. We have her here with us. Welcome, Elisa Levine, to the show. Elisa, thank you for joining us today on the show. Your film Sweetheart Deal is playing this weekend.
That's right. It's tonight at the Laemmle Royal is our big first Q&A. We're going to be playing from today through the 24th.
Tell us about the film. And I know someone who helped with it. Alan Pruzan is
right.
I've been friends with him for about 3-4 decades, Alan, and he helped finance this movie and was one of the producers. So tell us about how you pulled this project together and what inspired it.
Sure. I hate to ask, have you already seen it or not yet?
I have not seen it. I've only seen the trailer. And I told Alan, my friend Alan, I said, I don't know if I can handle this movie. I'm being honest. I don't know if I saw the trailer, and we're going to watch the trailer. I have not seen it. It's heartbreaking. So tell us about it.
Sure. So, I'm never exactly sure where to start, but I was very inspired by the film Streetwise from the 80s about homeless street kids in Seattle. And I was really inspired by like this verite style. After moving to Seattle, I was very interested in Aurora Avenue, which is kind of like our red light district. It's like old, kitschy motels and, a lot of sadness and a lot of people drawn back there again and again against their better judgment. And so it felt real to me as opposed to a lot of things in Seattle that feel very false. So I always knew that I wanted to do something to do with that. So I was looking for stories on Aurora and eventually stumbled upon this guy who was outside working on his RV generator. And he was just kind of like, you can stop looking now. You've met me. I am the mayor of Aurora Avenue. I know everybody out here. I know everyone there is to know. And, I help the women out here. he had this whole spiel about how he's like this helper, and that inside his RV, it was like a resting place for people to come and hang out and everything. And he told me that if and when people are ready, he was prepared to walk them through the process of kicking heroin. So the women who were walking by on that strip, they were all working as sex workers. They were all, the ones that I was encountering, they were all addicted to heroin. And so he had kind of set up shop there, for a long period of time, way before we got there. And so that's kind of how it began. And then ended up filming observationally inside the RV, for several years, and then branching out with the stories that happened with the women. And of course, I'm not sure how many spoilers I want to give away, but I can kind of, I can definitely tell you, and the trailer does hint at the fact that things did not, he did not end up to be the person that he had initially portrayed himself as, and such.
Well, we will look at the trailer, but of course, when I think of sex workers, Julia Roberts comes to mind, and the movie Pretty Woman, and the glamorous, kind of cute hooker with a heart of gold.
Oh,
All of
exactly.
that comes to mind, and a sweet story. Even a movie like Anora, we reviewed earlier in the show, is also the story of a sex worker. Love happens, they get married. This is not that. And when I saw the trailer as a father to a daughter, to see what these women have gone through, we should look at the trailer now and then talk about it. We can watch it together. We'll talk about it on the other side. I know the movie got a really good review on Film Threat, but I have to admit I have not seen it, but I can still ask you questions about it. Here is the trailer. So Alan, if you would, here we go right now.
Something happens somewhere along the way in life and they take a wrong turn, and a lot of people end up on Aurora because they're lost.
You have prostitution on your record, people don't want to hire you.
Hi. You're not a cop or anything, right?
Then you add addiction. It's a cycle.
I have 3 kids, 2 girls and a boy.
The girl in the pink up top, that's Maddie. She used to talk to me all the time. She won't talk to me now.
This is my senior picture. At this time, I still had 4.0 grades. I wasn't what I've become now, where I'm living on the streets.
I watched you grow up as a little child. When you go out there at night and do what you do, it scares the holy, ever-living, loving hell out of me.
I haven't met a working girl who has gotten out of the life and not come back to it. Whether or not we actually like each other out here, I think there's some level of respect. That's how we stay alive.
LA is a good guy. I really value the fact that I can knock on his door and be safe.
I've been here on Aurora for 10 plus years. They're gonna get warm. I'll dry their clothes out. I'll give them a cup of hot chocolate. Happy birthday.
Oh my God, you actually got me a card. Not even my own parents got me a card.
He's not called mayor of Aurora for nothing.
How many women and girls would you estimate work this area?
100.
And are you accommodating?
Oh. I really understand the psychology behind the drugs, the psychology behind the monster. The monster wants to lead you down the wrong path. Initially, it tries to subtly lure you away, and it'll raise its head every opportunity.
I love him and I hate him at the same time.
You know I care, but you have to care too. Gonna warn everybody about me, huh? How I mistreated you and fed you and fattened you up. The healthier you get, the unfriendlier you get.
This was a deal that worked for both of us most of the time.
Hey, I should say we gave Sweetheart Deal a 9 out of 10. Josiah reviewed it. He says saying that Sweetheart Deal is emotionally taxing is an understatement, but watching it is beyond fulfilling. It's authentic, brutal, empathetic, and above all, freeing.
I obviously I saw your trailer and it's horrifying to me. I don't know, like it just seems like for me to watch that film would be traumatic. But yeah, and just to live that, I know what it takes to a documentary like that is so intimate. You're spending time with those people. What's been the reaction? I mean, you know, you saw the quotes from many reviews. And by the way, Sean Baker saw your movie and gave you a quote. So
He did.
I'm
a big fan of Sean's. I should just say, you know, I like there are some rays of hope at the end. You're taken on kind of this roller coaster of a journey, but by the end of it, you're walking out of there with some, you know, it's definitely not like a redemption story or something like that, but it's very surprising some of the stuff that ends up happening and some, you know, the stuff that the women end up, I'm trying not to say too much, but you know, kind of like fighting back and stuff like that. And so you'd survive if you watch it. But anyway,
I mean, hope is a powerful drug. Let me ask you this question, but because it sounds like you walked into the documentary with a story in mind, and that story changed, mid-course. Can you speak to that in terms of a documentarian and how the shifting story affected how you approach the shifting story?
Yeah. So, you know, we didn't really know what we were walking into because you're walking into a whole other world and everything. But, we were kind of just seeing how the interactions went and, you know, observing all these dramas unfolding and stuff like that in the RV and outside of there. But, it's really hard to talk about that without being too spoilery. So I might have to be a little spoilery here. So is that okay?
Yes. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. So anyone who doesn't want to hear spoilers, so turn this off. So, you know, it's revealed in the course of the film that so this guy is supposed to be helping these women, and it turns out that he is actually basically Bill Cosby style, you know, while he's giving them drugs that are supposed to help them kick, he is taking advantage of them. And there ends up being a, you know, court case and all this stuff. He ends up being found out and being arrested. He recorded it all on his phone and everything. And so, you know, it was a major turning point. It was very disturbing and horrifying, and it was for the women and for us. And so we just kept going with following the things as they unfolded. We had to really jump on it to, you know, get into the court and everything like that and be able to do that. And then we followed up with the women to see how they were working through this and processing it. And, you know, there ends up being like a sentencing hearing and stuff like that with one of the women in the film present giving a statement at the end and everything. So I think we were kind of ready for anything, but we weren't expecting that. So it's just kind of like, you know, when you go into a documentary and you ask for a good story, wish for a good story, it's like, be careful what you wish for. So it's a good story, but it's, you know, it's devastating, but it's also has a lot of hope and, you know, survival and, you know, kind of amazing what these women did, you know, they came through on the other side of this.
We're looking at the website now, which is sweetheartdeal.com, sweetheartdealmovie.com. We'll put the link in the description. We have over 1,000 people watching live. I want to go to our viewers' comments and questions, if you don't mind. But go to the website. It lists the theaters that are playing. You can get tickets. You are doing a Q&A tonight at the Laemmle. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. At the Laemmle Royal, we're going to do a Q&A. We have a 7:10 screening, and the filmmaker, Zachary Drucker, is going to be our guest moderator We have another one tomorrow night too with Peggy Reisky is going to be our moderator.
So
but,
go to go to sweetheartdealmovie.com, check out the screening times and whatnot. Let's get to our comments and questions from our viewers and in the chat. Timothy Tickleff, when you learn with some of what these women go through, the last thing you think of is sex. Yeah, I'm sure. The nerd far away. Hail, Ms. Levine. Do you think there's a message of hope in all of this?
I would say come see the film. I think there is a message of hope, and that there it's amazing what human beings can go through and still keep trying. I mean, I saw these women, like, even if they weren't succeeding in whatever it was they were, if they're just trying to emotionally succeed, get out of it, but they're also dealing with addictions at the same time. I definitely think there's a message of hope. I do. It's not like, naive or, but this movie, we're trying to be pretty real about the way things are. And also just to say, these are not your empowered sex workers. This is not, they wouldn't even call themselves sex workers. These are people who were out there. This is survival sex. This is, they were trying to feed an addiction, get money to pay for drugs, and the cycle was continuing. So
some comments here. Adelis24, I can't imagine having to sit in the editing room watching this footage over and over. And Timothy Tickleff says, I like learning the truth, even darker truths. And here's a comment and a question. Aaron Sharman, who's a member, the movie captures some deeply personal and painful moments in the lives of these women. How did you build the trust necessary for them to open up in such an intimate way?
I would say, like, I was wondering how do you do this kind of film? Even before I started, I didn't know how you did this style. And I would say that if you're doing this type of film that's like verite, observational, and long form thing, you need to spend as much time with the camera off, or much more time probably with the camera off than you do on. And with the people getting to know you, they say participants now, the participants getting to know you, you getting to know them, that, you develop like close relationships. And that's why you're able to see them really letting their guard down in front of the camera.
Another question here, the last question for us, because we have to end on time because of two more questions. Caveat ties, ever feel endangered while shooting?
Strangely enough, I didn't really. And my co-director Gabriel Miller also, I think there was actually one incident outside where somebody was like eyeing the camera. But we were never, strangely enough, we did not feel unsafe or whatever in the RV. The kind of stuff that this guy was doing was much more of he was not doing it in front of us. And it was also much more of a long con. He was very charismatic, and it felt relaxed and trusting, and we were in some dicey situations though, like in hotel rooms and stuff like that, but I wouldn't do the same film out there now, though. It's much more dangerous out there on Aurora.
And last question here from Thomas Pickett for 5, who's a member. Thank you for supporting the channel. Do you think if sex work was legal, would these women have problems with drugs?
Oh, sure. Give me an easy question to end with.
Yeah. We'll end on an easy question.
I don't know. I think that the drug, no, I don't think that would necessarily solve everything. It's hard. It's so complicated. I mean, why someone gets into drugs in the first place and everything, like chicken or egg situation.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
I think you hit it there. It's the reason why you get on drugs. That's the problem. The drugs is there as the temporary cure. And unfortunately, it's the addictive temporary cure that makes it so dangerous and forces people to do what they do to get it.
And a lot of people are coming from like complex trauma situations, and some were from poverty, some weren't, and everything. But I don't know. That's a complicated question, but interesting.
And Uncle Pappy Wolfertoo, what do you want the viewers to take away from this?
I feel like what I take away from it and what I want people to kind of take away from it is I want people to see themselves in these women. And also, you know, if whatever you're going through, whatever difficult battle that you're fighting, I think that this can give you strength in, like, you know, that, like, I'm always doubting myself, you know, and I'm always, you know, I talk about imposter syndrome and stuff like that. And I'm just like, you know what, shut up. Look what Krista did. Look what these women did. And, pull your pants up and, I think you can, it's like, it gives you, it shows what, I think it's just encouraging and positive overall, and will hopefully make you feel better about whatever you're dealing with. Yeah.
Well, Elisa, Levine, congratulations on the film. Thank you so much for tackling a tough topic. So tough. I have a hard time. The trailer was just heartbreaking. Good luck with all the screenings. sweetheartdealmovie.com. Go to there, watch the trailer, look for screenings and whatnot. And thanks again for coming on the show to tell us all about your film.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. And I'm a big fan of the show, by the way. So.
Oh, well, thank you. So come back when you have your next doc. I appreciate it.
In another 10, 15 years.
Okay. Yeah, sure. All right. Take care. Thanks again.
Thank you.
And that is, I watched the trailer, even though my friend was involved in making this movie. I watched the trailer. I said, I don't think I could watch this.
Yeah.
This is it's
but to me, they exist for the sole reason of, things are bad out there, and stories like this, you just don't know it's happening unless you have a film come out and show it to you. And I think that's why it's important.
And a couple last super chats. Thank you to everyone who sent in a super, and thank you to, there are 1,300 people here. They stuck around for the interview. It used to be we do an interview, half the people would leave. Thank you for being an audience interested in movies beyond Smile 2. You stuck around here to hear about Rumours. You heard about Goodrich. You heard about a lot of other movies that are out there. And I make it our mission to not just review the mainstream, but other movies you would not otherwise hear about, and bring on the filmmakers who make challenging films like Sweetheart Deal. So give yourself a big round of applause. I would do it on my board. I don't know which button is the applause. But
quickly, we gotta end this.
We gotta end this. So for 18 months. What's y'all top 5 Halloween costumes? I'll give mine: Bruce Banner, James Kirk, Mr. Fantastic, Namor, and Batman. Those are my 5. I'll post photos.
Mine is guy in suit, beach dude, skateboard dude, and Disney dork.
And my favorite ones are anything sexy, like sexy Washington Monument is an.
And mine is anything I could pull off out of my closet. Genre for 742. Idea for verses: top 10 horror films like Horror at 37,000 feet, Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, and Trilogy of Terror.
Horror TV movies. That's a great one, Shanu. We are doing the top 100 zombie movies on Monday for verses. There's an article in the planning document. Alan never reads it.
I don't read it. I don't
he
read
never
it.
does.
I do it the day before.
He reads it 5 minutes before we start.
Exactly.
Anyways, that's not true. So yeah, we're gonna do so. But yeah, Sean, please on Monday join us for verses. And thank you to our mod, Lord Thoth. Thank you to Lori, Atomic Lori. Never gives herself enough credit. She does not give herself enough credit. I give Lori credit. And
Lori,
thank you to you for sticking around on the show. We will be back Monday for verses. We are doing an election special. On November 5th.
But he would have been sitting in Moscow. Quiet, please.
It's going to be like that all night.
Oh my gosh.
We will have fun.
Okay.
We'll be
And then
doing-
lastly, you and I will be at the Newport Beach Film Festival this weekend.
That's right. I'm going to be there late tonight. You are going now.
I'll be there tonight.
We'll be there at Newport Beach. I'm not getting until midnight. So I have to go see by the way, you know where I'm going?
Where?
I'm seeing The Woman in the Sea. And guess who's going to be there?
Daisy Ridley.
Daisy Ridley is going to be there. I'll film the Q&A. I might meet her.
Okay.
I'll post photos for members only.
Okay.
So, all right. See you at Newport Beach. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you so much. Take care. Alan?
Let's get out of here.